everyone, welcome back. Hello everyone, welcome back. We are live again, and today we're going to be talking about something super duper awesome. This is the real world project that I've been working on for a really long time, and also we're going to be working on the landing page for this, talk a little bit about the super duper special little project that I have cooking here. Amit Kumar says hi. Hello Amit, welcome. Today we're going to be designing the website for our very own Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass, which is a masterclass for UI UX designers, in fact, who are just starting out, want to get their first portfolio in. And I feel like there's a bunch of advantages that I will now use this site that we're building out today to leverage. Look at me, marketing from every single corner. We're going to be designing about pages to craft your compelling story, featured projects with case studies, showing your best features, animated CV or resume, which is a sleek, high engaging way to highlight your skills, your services, your skills, your blogs, your social media, and all of the other legal pages, policies, terms and services, and little things that you need in your very first portfolio website. All of this happens in the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass, which happens 2nd of March, next Sunday, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I am so happy for this. And you can sign up right now if you need to. I need to set up a website for this as we speak, which is the biggest undertaking as a web developer, web designer. And so we're going to be designing the site for that. I just made half of this in the last 2 hours, and I'm really happy that we get to design this today. Say hi in the chat, everybody. I'm so glad all of you are here. Let's get started. Today we're going to be designing this whole site, and I'm going to talk a lot about the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass because it is the best thing you can do right off the bat when you're starting out as a UI UX designer. And as we build out this UI, you will see why. So look at me promoting myself every single place I can. This is amazing. Hold on. I think we have a couple of comments which I do need to read, but oh my god, what's up? Just hold on. Mix of Designs says, hey Veera, it's been a while since I last saw you live. How have you been? I have been wonderful, and I've been making the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass. If you want to sign up, all of the details are going to be talked about today. Go sign up from the link in the live chat. Super duper cheap, super duper easy, and it's just the perfect 3-hour workshop by the end of which you'll have your very own portfolio website to ship to all of your clients, employees, peers, everyone you need to ship it to. Let's get started. So the very first thing you obviously need to do when designing a site like this is open up Figma. If you don't yet have Figma installed, go to figma.com/downloads. I'm speaking as if I have a sponsorship. I do not. Figma, please sponsor me. That would be lovely. But since I do not, we're just going to create a new design file. Just go to figma.com/downloads. Download it. It's the simplest thing in the whole wide world. All right. Once you have Figma downloaded, once you've created a new design file, which is what we've done today, we're going to get started by creating this really simple frame. So obviously the established belief here is you need to have this laptop wired around your UI, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to get a frame that is the exact same width and height, the exact same dimension as the desktop for MacBook Pro 16. So we're just going to click on this, and that's going to give us a really simple, really easy desktop UI. Once we've done that, we're going to get started with all of the different things that we need to do here. Usually every single little image that we use on all of these live streams is available in the Discord group, and for this specific instance the whole masterclass is available, so just go sign in from the link in the live chat. While you do that, let's just get started with this UI. So obviously I want to talk a little bit about the style guide first, which means the color schemes that we're going to be using, all of the different images that we're using, what the aesthetic is. So even if you're approaching this from the point of view of someone who is building a real world project, a real world freelance project, how would you go about building a site that kind of looks like this? How would you go about solving each of the individual problems that a client faces? This video is the perfect freelancer's guide if you're just starting out, if you have your very first freelance order and you need to wrap your head across how do I solve my client's problem while showing my skill set, while showing my adaptability, while keeping in mind the colors they give me are there in the site. The fonts they give me are there in the site. Whatever other needs they have are always there in the site. So we're going to be looking at a bunch of really cool things. Let's just get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to take a look at the style guide, obviously. So I'm just going to describe my problem statement as if I was a client. So this style guide basically comes from the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass, which this is the second time we're doing this masterclass. It is the best thing you can do if you're just starting out as a beginner in UI UX design. And so the recurring theme with this single piece of project is these two colors, this really hard blackish blue and this really bright orange on your face. And also there isn't a lot of illustration work that goes on here. There aren't a lot of images that we're building with. We're using the exact website that we're going to be building out in the portfolio masterclass. Obviously, as UI UX designers, you have the ability to change it, but at the end of the day, in the hero section, this site is our hero and this is what we're highlighting. So you're going to be working with a UI that doesn't have a lot of images. We're going to be working with a UI that just has a lot of color, has a lot of personality. And I also think it's really interesting to note what the font here is. This is Pixel, hold on a minute. This is a really interesting font. And let's just type something out. I just forgot the name, which is horrible. Let's check out what the fonts are. The font is Pixelify Sans, which is our main hero font for all of our headings and all of the other stuff. And then we also have Outfit, which is my favorite font. So basically we're taking this entire framework as if you would approach a real freelance project, and we're building out a whole site based on that. So we're going to take our color scheme, we're going to take our font, and we're going to take all of the different details and we're going to base it off of that. So before I get into the whole website, because obviously we're going to get into that, I want to design a style guide for this UI, and that's going to give you a really good approach into how you would make your own real world project. Let's just get that started. So we're going to just create a new page here and we're going to talk about the style guide for a little while. So I have already described everything that we're going to do here, but this is just going to be the effective phase. Style guides are really important because sometimes when you're showing off your first draft to your client, sometimes when you're showing off the first images and the first views of what your first UI is going to look like to the client, it gets really important to just put your point across visually. And you can't just go to the client and say, I'm using the font Pixelify Sans. Your client wouldn't understand that. So in the very beginning, obviously you need to have a lot of visuals into the way you're building things out. So this is the process. This is really important for freelancers. This is really important with your first client and also your second and third and fourth and fifth and every other client. So this is just the most basic stuff ever. So if for example, this was the only image the client gave you, the style guide for this project would be as follows. Let's just go through that. The first thing with style guides is colors. So this is our color palette. Let's just talk about the color palette that we have. We are not using black in this color palette, which is awesome. We are working with a primarily dark mode first color scheme, which is also awesome. And we're going to be working with a lot of pure white and orange here. So the colors that we're using, let's just get it from this color picker right here, is 0001D, or in RGB you're going to get 00029 100%, and this is the bluish black that we're using. So this is what we're using instead of our plain pure black, and that just sets the theme for the dark mode that this UI is going to sort of stay around. That's its territory now. This is the next orange that we're using. This is the bold highlight, which is just singing, screaming as soon as you enter the page. And then this is our white. So these are the colors that we're using for this UI. Let's just get that very clearly across. Let's also talk about the fonts that we're using, because that is also a very interesting thing to look at. The fonts are obviously Pixelify Sans, which is for our titles, and also Outfit. So Outfit is going to be our description font, but it gets really important for us to say that this is the fonts that I'm going to be using, so that there isn't a lot of deviation from what we've previously decided. And also we want this to be a little bit smaller than our title font, just so we know what we're working with. Alright, so this is our fonts. Let's just underline this just so we have a clear difference between what we're building out and what the titles are. And we also have the colors over here. So this is our style guide. This is the very first time I'm doing a style guide on this channel, but this is just really important when you're building out your very first project. Like, you can't escape this at all. When you're giving your first presentation to your client, having all of these things ready is going to be very, very important. Now that we have our color and now that we have our font, we're going to also talk about our images and aesthetics. So for some UIs, you usually want your illustrations to be dominant. For some UIs, you want these stock images to be there. So some UIs, they have their own photographers. That will also come to you at some point. But for this UI, we're just taking the UI that we're just taking this image that the client has given us, and we're sort of building on top of that. So I feel like it's really important to get that clearly across as well. Let's just copy and paste this, and we're going to talk about images now. Images. So the images that we're using are actually, for this site, quite limited. Usually your client will provide you with the images that they're working with, because you are not the photographer. You don't have to come up with the images unless they are illustrations and you're an illustrator, but that's something for a different day. That's just a different story altogether. All right, so these are the 5 images that we're working with. The point that we are trying to make here is, once you give these images, once you give this style guide as a single file of handoff to your UI UX designer, now they don't need to worry about what illustrations do I use. Do I go to Unsplash? Do I go to Pixabay? Do I go to Leonardo.ai? Where do I go? They don't need to, UI designers now don't need to worry about that, because we know these are the images that we're going to be using. So this is our style guide for this real world project that I'm building out. And this is going to be as close to real world as you can get before you get your first client. So this is just very, very clear preparation for your first project. And the reason I'm just getting, a lot of designers in their style guides don't put images, but I like to have at least 1 or 2 images of what I'm working with, because I found myself searching for hours and hours on sites like Unsplash and Pixabay, weird images and illustrations, and then they don't fit together, and then that's a different problem altogether. You want all of your images to be of a pattern. So you want, if you're using illustrations, you want all of them to be illustrations. If you're using images, you want all of them to be images. If this is the sort of image layout that you're using, you want all of them to be specifically images. So it's really important to be clear on what images you're going to be using, not deviate from that a whole lot. Let's keep this clear. So now we have all of our images. So we have our colors with us, we have our fonts with us, and we also have our images with us. What other things, now I'm thinking about what other things do I need to have in my style guide before I actually get to designing. So I feel like the color theme here is going to be this. I also feel like it's necessary to say here it's going to be dark mode primary, because sometimes you can just get confused with, I have a black and I have a white. Do I put the background for the very first section for the whole site to be white, or do I put it to be black? And in that case, it's just really easy for us to go from dark mode primary and just build off of the dark mode theme. Mix of Design says the masterclass looks interesting. However, I couldn't find the timing details on the page. Could you please share the schedule? Of course I could. Of course I could. Look at me. I'm promoting my own thing. The masterclass happens 2nd March Sunday. Time is 5 to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, or 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, depending on wherever you are. So I hope that answers your question. Look at me. I'm promoting my own thing. Sounds so cheesy. Anyways, this is our color guide for the project that we're building out. We're going to get dark mode primary. This is our color palette. These are our fonts. These are our images. And I don't think you need a whole lot from this point on. This file of style guide in itself is just enough to build off of, right? This is just enough. You could give this to an actual person and that would be fine. So let's just now work with this to create our actual UI. So now that I have this style guide with me, I'm just going to keep the style guide over here. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to paste it right here. So this is going to be with me wherever I go. And since I'm just going to get rid of all of these images now because we don't need them, this is all of the detail I need. And now I only have a clear white frame. And now I'm going to be working with the whole entire UI. So the very first thing you need is obviously a notification bar. I feel like in very, very modern, very, very real world UIs, you need a notification bar super duper in your face, super duper at the top, because now you want this specific piece of data, whether it's an offer, whether it's a discount, whether it's a real piece of value that you provide, to be there at the top, right? So you're just going to drag this out. You're going to change our background color to the dark blue that we've been using, because obviously this is a dark mode primary website. And now the first thing that we need to have here is our notification bar. I have seen this so often, and it's just such a weird thing. All professional sites that I see nowadays, if they have a notification bar, that just becomes the cherry on top. Like, I could remove the notification bar and this would just look plain, but when you add that notification bar, it adds a little bit of extra value that you can give to your users. And as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I'm exposing my own secrets of the very own product that I'm launching, which is super weird, because now you know the psychology of why I'm doing what I'm doing and also what it is that I'm doing. But anyways, the point is always going to be, if you are a UI UX designer, you need to know that you should add a notification bar at the top of things, just so you can have your primary offer, your primary value right there across the face of the client. You don't even need to have a huge dedicated place in the hero section now that you have added this piece of value at the top, right? And this is so hard to miss. Like, even if the user doesn't scroll, even if the user is really not very familiar with web and the platform as a whole, they can still just understand the first piece of value that you're providing without getting blurred up between all of the different details. Let's add a fill, and now we're going to change this fill to say orange. And now we're going to change the text. So the text is going to be a UI UX portfolio that actually gets you hired. I'm just going to get the text that I'm building out. Hold on, let me just get all of the text that I'm working with here, just so we don't have to waste a lot of time going back and forth. Give me a moment. Let's just get all of this text. So this is also my copy text. This is something that the client will usually provide you, or you can take the help of a copywriter, but this does need to get really heavily placed inside of your actual UI. So that's also really important. Let's just get our tagline. So the tagline could be in the hero section, or the tagline could be in the notification bar. Both are absolutely valid choices, and both provide a really good place to serve value to your users. We're going to change the color to white. We're going to change the font to say outfit, and we're also going to make it a little bit thicker. So we're going to stay on the bold side of things, just so we can have our value proposition right in the face of the user. Let's just place this right here, and we're going to make this smaller. Obviously, we're going to place this directly in the center. Let's just align this perfectly in the center. And now the next thing that we need to do is, we need to highlight our most important segment of this entire sentence. The most important segment here is actually gets you hired. So this is the value that I'm proposing to you, the user. So I need to highlight this as boldly as I can. So I'm just going to go right here, create a rectangle, zoom in, actually gets you hired, and we're going to just highlight this as brightly as we can. And once we have done that, don't worry if it's cutting across the other text, we'll fix that later. The border radius needs to be really rounded off. And the reason we need the border radius rounded off is, in this sort of a color palette, in this sort of a style guide, everything is really sharp and edgy. So if you also keep this sharp and edgy, it's just going to be really weird and spooky and sharp, and just keeps the user on edge. You want there to be some relaxed segments. You don't want to force this message more than you already are. So it's a just deep psychology thing of just having some things just be really easy on the page as well. I'm just getting really confused right now, to be honest, with the plain black and the blue black that we're using. So I'm just going to change all of the plain blacks to blue blacks, just so we don't make that mistake in our actual UI, where no black is allowed for the entirety of this UI. Now, one of the problems that you might face when you're designing something like this is, this starts cutting across the rectangle. Let's just lock this text and we'll talk about the issue then. So one of the problems that you're facing now is, this rectangle is cutting across this text now that it's actually starting to take up space. The way you fix that is, you unlock your text and then you add one extra space with your space bar key, obviously, using just a little bit of extra space. And what that is going to do is, it's going to give you the extra space you need to give the rectangle the padding it needs. And we've added 2 spaces here because there was a shortage of space right there. We're going to go over here Select this, make sure the text is actually inside our page, select the rectangle, and we're going to just get this right here. So with that, we've added a little bit of padding. And now we're going to just change this to say semi-bold. I feel like bold was just a little too much for me, so we're just going to change it to semi-bold. Doesn't really make a difference if you go with really, really bold shades too. So with that, we have our notification bar, and right off the bat, let's, you know what just happened? Oops. Let's just present this, go to prototype mode, change the prototype settings to MacBook Pro 16, and we're going to try and see what actually happens when you design a UI that sort of looks like this. And you're going to start to see the advantage of putting this at the top. So right off the bat, even if there was nothing on this page, now you have your perfect value proposition right here in the center of the page. Once that is done, we're going to start with our logo and with our menu bar and with all of the different things that you would do in any usual site. Let's get our logo done now. So we're just going to go right here. I'm going to import the logo for this masterclass. Speaking of this masterclass, this is the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass for UI UX designers who just want to get started, want to get their foot in the door, and want the perfect guide with their first portfolio website. So if you're just starting out, you don't have a website yet, which is the most important thing when you're looking for freelance clients or getting hired. Both of those cases require you to have a solid portfolio. If you don't have a portfolio, that makes it really difficult for you to even be a part of the competition, not even stand out. That's even out of the question. The first step of the way is obviously to be a part of the competition, and a portfolio lets you do that. Sometimes there is an issue of not having a lot of difference between the portfolios of yourself and different designers. The best part about this masterclass is going to be all designers that walk into this masterclass, and there are only going to be 10, by the way, so this is a very limited seat thing. All of the designers that walk in are going to walk out of their own specific personalized portfolio with their very own font choices, color choices, all of their different choices, which means now you can actually have a portfolio that looks different, feels different, gives the hiring manager who you are as a person, as a designer, as opposed to the same copy-paste WordPress websites that have been going on for ages. Now we have our logo in front of us. And once we have that, by the way, if you want to sign up for the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass, links are in the description and also the live chat, so do not miss it. Sign up now. It comes for a really, really small price of $14.92. Like, what's that? Pizza? It's just the simplest thing in the whole world, and within 3 hours you'll have your very own working site, which is code based, but you don't have to worry about the code, so that's another added advantage. Super duper awesome stuff. You should not miss it at all. Now that we have this figured out, we're going to get our menu bar. So let's just go right here, go to Iconify, and we're going to search for menu. Once we have our menu bar over here, we're going to go over here and search for this menu bar, because this is a really, really simple icon. Let's place this right here. We're going to make this smaller, obviously, and the color is going to be white, of course. This is the simplest first step you can take while building out actual real world menu bars. Let's just place this right here. We're going to select this menu bar, make it even smaller. Obviously, add this right here. And obviously, the one thing you need to make sure is, even if you're having a menu bar, even if you're having whatever you're having, the both of these icons need to have an equal amount of spacing from the top and also the left and right. So equal symmetry needs to be there every single time, no matter what you're doing. Let's just add this right here. We're going to make this thinner, obviously. And now we have this really simple looking UI in front of us. Let's just put this a little bit towards the top, and now what we've built out is actually starting to look like a website. So this is just really coming together as we speak. And now we're going to add this hero section. So this hero section is actually one of the things that had been given to us from the style guide, so we don't have to worry about that. And sometimes clients will give you their very own logo, their very own proposition of value that they're just giving you across the table, which just really takes off a lot of the workload. Like, this is the simplest thing clients will do for you, and it's the greatest gift of all. And I'm just going to place this right here. By the way, if you guys are UI UX designers who don't have their own portfolio website, what are you doing? Go sign up for the Launch Your Own Portfolio website. You will have the best portfolio website in the world within 3 hours next Sunday, March the 2nd, which is a holiday, by the way. Who would not want to have a lot of fun building their very own portfolio website live with me? It's a really small group of like less than 10 designers, which makes it really easy for you to ask questions, discuss, share feedback, and walk out with a very unique portfolio for this very limited opportunity. The next thing we're doing is we're adding all of the different bullet points that we need to add, just so we can tell what we're building out, how we're building it out. And now we're just going to add all of these. So we're going to build out date, time, format, and seats. And I feel all of these details are already present over here, so I'm just going to copy and paste this stuff. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to zoom in. Let's just paste this right here. Did anything paste? What? It did not. Weird. Let's just go back. We're going to paste our text. We're going to bring this right here. We're going to change it to white and also change the font to outfit. We're going to make this obviously thicker than usual. Let's change it to semi-bold. And also let's reduce the font size by a whole lot. Let's bring this down to 32. Let's bring this to the front of whatever is going on in the background. You obviously have to make sure your image is inside of the frame and not outside of it. That's also really, really important. And now we're building out all of the other details. So now that we have our date, we need to have our time and format and everything else. Let's get our time now. Let's just copy and paste our time as well. So we're just going to drag this out here. And it's really important to get all of your different details separated as you're doing this whole thing, just so you have a sense of where things are going visually on the page as a UI UX designer. Let's just paste this right here. And now we have all of the different details that we're placing right here. So we're going to zoom in, copy and paste this once again. And I feel like we were using a little bit of different text. So Sunday along with an emoji is what we're adding right here. So let's just get rid of these weird sincere brackets and get the party popper emoji, because let's be honest, it is going to be a hoot and a half. Let's just add this right here. And now we're going to change this to the date. So we're going to select this, copy it, and obviously paste here in match style. All right, and now we're going to just select these by pressing shift, copy and paste them once again, bring them down here and select this text. Obviously paste here in match style. I feel like something weird happened. No, it did not. We're going to copy this and make sure to sign up quickly, you guys, because these are limited seats. They just go off the charts really, really quickly. And we do these masterclasses after a really, really long time. So it's just going to be this opportunity and then it's gone. All right, the next thing we need to do is just get this in order. So we need to basically make sure all of these are just organized as a whole, and just to make sure that happens. I feel like we missed out on something. We didn't add the different time zones. Hold on, just give me a moment. I got to drink water. Hello, welcome back. Thank you for not going away. Now we're going to change this text to say 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which is also really important when you have international audiences. Just simple little details you always need to have in any site that goes international ever. I feel like it's just needs to become the common standard to have more than one time zone, because otherwise people from across the globe just misread time zones and it becomes a whole problem in itself. I know I've not attended a whole lot of classes because of these time zone issues back in the day. So it really is quite important to get your time zones right, especially on the internet where there is no national border and boundary in the exchange of information. Alright, now that we have all of these details with us, we just need to make sure they're aligned perfectly. And you might think now to get this alignment right, all you need is an auto layout, which is actually not true. we need to align this as a row and then align the second row as a row as well, and that just does a much better job at making things work. So let's just make sure that happens as well. We're going to select this and this, and we're going to group them together. Obviously, before we group them together, make sure to select them both by pressing shift. Click on this button of auto width, and that's going to make sure your group takes the amount of width it needs to and not more. Hold on. And we're back. So now that we have the both of these sorted out, we're just going to select this and this by pressing shift, and we're going to just group them together. Now that we have these grouped together, we're just going to select the both of them by pressing shift again, and we're going to group them together again. This time we're going to make sure there is an auto layout here. So we're doing an auto layout to make sure these are aligned perfectly, but we're making sure they are also aligned as rows, just so there isn't a lot of jankiness which happens usually with auto layouts. I feel like we lost a word there in our copy, which was seats, so we need to have that here as well. And we're going to make sure this stays inside our group. For some reason, the group has decided to escape to a new level, which is insane. But in other news, you can also get rid of the auto layout beyond a point, because you're just making sure things are equally aligned. But other than that, I feel like we're fine. So I'm just going to press Control Shift G, and that's going to make sure all the spacing in between sort of goes away. And now we're going to make sure this spacing is exactly equal to the spacing between this and this. So this is 90 pixels of spacing, and this is 98 pixels of spacing, which is causing a little bit of problem. I feel like we also need to reduce the font size right here, because this is now becoming an issue. Let's just select this font size, bring this down. I feel like we could go up to 28, which is a good font size to stop. And now that we have this font size sort of sorted out, we're going to make sure the spacing is always very, very equal. I feel like my major concern here is this spacing should be equal to the spacing this and this take, which would mean I need to adjust the font and spacing and everything accordingly. Let me just get this font size back up to 30. And then we're going to make sure the spacing between is fine. let's just align these by hand, because sometimes auto layout just can't do the job that you need to get done, which is when our human hands and human eyes come in handy. Check it out, you guys. We have now made our very own section, and I feel like we also need to crop this segment better, because this is just weirdly cropped out and it's causing center alignment issues. So I'm just going to align this very, very properly now. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, just leave them in the comments. Or if you don't yet have your own portfolio masterclass, you know what to do. Go join the link from the live chat or description. And now we're just aligning everything in the center. And with that, we have almost all of our hero section ready. The only thing left here to make is the tell me more and join now button. So we're just going to go over here and add a tell me more button. Tell me more. Adding more visually understandable button texts instead of having really weird options like submit or send HTTP request is actually very, very healthy. Instead of just writing submit, you could write join now, and that is a much easier thing for a user to understand, as opposed to these very blanket statements, very, very clear blanket statements that people in tech use. So we're just going to frame this selection by pressing Ctrl-Alt-G, and we're also going to add a layout. We're going to add a padding on the left and right, and also on the top and bottom. Once you're happy with the way it looks, you're going to change the color back again. So we're going to add a fill here, which is going to be plain white. This text, since this is a secondary button, is going to be black. And we're also going to make sure to just make this bold, and we're going to place this right here. Since most people in the world are right-handed, we also want the most important button, which is the join now button, to be on the right side, since this is the more easier thing to build out for the majority. Let's just make sure, and also because people scan from left to right, so the last thing on the right leaves the most lasting impression, which is why we need to have a right side button, which is the main call to action button. And now we're just going to duplicate this button once again, and it's going to be join now. This is going to just say join now. Let's just type out join now, and we're going to change this color to be orange once again, change this text to be white, and now we have this really, really simple group of buttons. Let's just group them together, make sure their spacing is sort of equal, align them perfectly in the center, shift them above by a couple of pixels, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, our hero section is ready. And I know this in itself looks a little bit funky right now, but when you actually see it, it starts to make sense. So this is once this notification is dismissed, this is our hero section. Looks super plain, super classy, super luxurious, but most importantly, it gets our point across, which is what we're doing all of this for. Once you've done this, the next thing you need to build out is what you learn, which is our next section. This is the most important section, because I feel like we go into the most breakdown detail level thing of all. So we're just going to type out this title now. This is our next section. The first section was our hero section, and now we're going to build out our second section. By the way, if you don't yet have a portfolio masterclass, you know what to do. Go join the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass right now from the live chat and the description. Let's type out what you learned from Veera right here. Let's just add a title. You know what? I'm just going to copy and paste it from my copy. Just would make my life so much easier. Let's just select this, go over here, add a text box, and now we're going to type out this whole segment, and we're going to change the font to say white. And now that we have this font in white, we're going to change the font family as well. So the font family is going to be Pixelify Sans, font weight is going to be bold, and font size is going to be 82. Let's make sure this is left aligned and add this right here. The next thing we need to do is obviously add the subheading, which is saying by the end of this masterclass, you will have dash dash dash. So now we're just adding our subheading, which is also going to be taken from my copy. This is like the most solid piece of copy I've ever made for any site at all, which is sort of the way you need to be building out real world copies for real world websites. Let's just select this text, paste it right here. Where did we paste it? And now we're going to just get it inside of our frame, align this perfectly in the center. We're going to change this font size to be orange. Font family is going to be outfit, of course. Font weight is going to be medium, but most importantly, the font size needs to be reduced to 32. I feel like we're just going with the whole mindset of huge font sizes, which is actually a good strategy when you want to get your main idea across without much hassle. The font weight is now going to be semi-bold, just because it would just be easier on the eyes, and that is the goal of UI UX design. And now we're getting our super duper nice premium looking image. With this image, I'm using a super duper cool technique, so stick around for that. Let's now search for get our image. So you're just going to go right here, select your image, or just press Ctrl Shift K, and I'm going to get this image right here. This is the first image that we're using on our UI. We're going to bring this down, and we're going to select this add border radius just so it's a little bit rounded off. And now we're going to break this rounded corner down. So for this corner and this corner, we don't need to have any spacing, which is why we're going to change these to say 0. And the interesting thing with this corner radius detail section is, if you just look at these corners as a rectangle, you'll know which sides you're changing the sides for. So this is the top right, this is the bottom left. All of these are exactly where they need to be. Really, really cool visual tool, Figma. And we're also going to increase the corner smoothing to be 100%, and I'll just let you see what the details, what the difference are in terms of corner smoothing. So check this out. This is without corner smoothing, and this is with corner smoothing. It just makes life so much simpler, so much easier to look at. I love the whole corner smoothing feature in Figma. Now we're going to build out our actual description. So let's just increase the image size and let's build out the description. Let's just bring this right here. And now we're going to select this text and style it accordingly. Let's just go over to this section. We're going to select this guy out, copy it, zoom in, and paste it back in here again. Where did we go? Let's select this text back here, change the font size to be white, and now we're going to change the font family to be outfit. Let's bring this up to semi-bold, and obviously bring this right here. So let's just align this to the right side. And obviously we need to increase our font size a little bit as well. And also I feel like we need to add a little bit of an emoji presence to it. So let's just add these eyes right here. And I feel like we need to increase the font size a little bit still, because the main goal here is clarity as much as we can give it. Let's just add this right here and reduce the font size just so everything looks perfectly balanced, which is the goal at the end of the day. I feel like we need to shift this up a little bit, just so we have a clear visual on what we're building out now. And then we'll work with a couple of images just to make things a lot more interesting. So now this is our next section, which is by far the most mind-boggling ever. Now we're building out this sort of bento grid offset image UI, which is an amazing detail. Let's just press Ctrl Shift K, import all of the different images that we're going to be using here, and then we're going to start building out the actual bento grid display. So let's just stick all of these out here. Select the first one that we need to, which is the Hire Me section. We're going to bring the font size, bring the size down by a whole lot, zoom in, bring the size down, add a border radius, just make sure the corner radius is set to 100%. And once that is done, we're going to make this a lot smaller. And let's just add a bunch of images once again. Let's just go to the blogs section, zoom this guy down, zoom this guy down, bring this right here, make it even smaller, place this blog right here, make the Hire Me section just small enough to accommodate where this is going. We're going to remove a lot of the really high border radius spacing. This is our new spacing now. This just needs to be slightly bigger, not a whole lot, just slightly bigger than our previous section, and obviously we need to have corner smoothing as well. So we're just going to open this up, add a lot of corner smoothing, and then we're going to do that once again with our third section. So let's just get this third section, bring the size down. These are just plain simple images. I feel like this is a very reusable, oops, what did I just do? I feel like this is a very reusable section, and you can sort of make this and use this in very, very different landing pages, which is completely awesome. And once that is done, now we're going to add a little bit of corner radius here as well. Like, this is the most reusable section in the whole wide world, like the most prettiest thing ever. Let's bring the font size down just to accommodate what we're building here. Sometimes you just need to work with font sizes and just image sizes and wherever they lead you. It's not the prettiest thing in the whole world, but it is what it is. Let's just bring this right here, and now check this out, ladies and gentlemen. We have our weird offset grid ready, and now we're going to build out the actual text that goes into the text box. Let's just reduce the corner smoothing, because I feel like that's getting in the way now. And we're just going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned. So these are like thought bubbles, but for images, and just make everything look super duper pretty. And now we're going to change the text to say this. So we're just going to go right here, a fully customizable website, with 15 plus pages tailored to your style. Let's just select this text, go back, paste it here and match the style, right align everything, and add a little bit of an emoji, because who doesn't love an emoji presence after all? Oops. And now we're going to style the next section with this weirdly offset, slightly semi-opaque image. Bring this down, put this right here. This just really makes the text pop, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a bit. You're going to add a border radius over here to this image, make the image smaller, make the image smaller, make sure the corner smoothing is set to 100%. And once that is done, we're going to just reduce the opacity. Let's just reduce the opacity over here, bring this down, send it to the back, and this will just do a really good job of bringing out what we have present over here from the background. So just check this out, you guys. This just brings the whole fully customizable website so much forward on the screen, gives it a different level of depth and dimension that you wouldn't usually get with anything else. So I feel like this is the most prettiest, perfect section of the entire website. Let's just zoom out. Check this out. This actually looks quite nice. Let's add a little bit of spacing, because this lack of spacing is starting to make me uneasy. But other than that, we actually have something that looks pretty nice. Let's just bring this right here. And now we have an actually amazing looking section. And the next thing we're going to do is obviously build out this end section, and I feel like this section is really driving our point home, the confidence to update and expand your portfolio anytime. Let's just build this section out next. Obviously, the next thing we need to do is get this image group and also get this text group. This image group is already present with me, so I'm just going to import that really quickly. This is our image group. Let's just add this right here. We're going to just scale this up to fit our spacing. And I know I'm just doing the quick route out here, but this is a simple prototype and it doesn't need to be pixel perfect from every single direction out there. It just needs to look good for production. So we're just going to select this text and change it to say the confidence to update and expand your portfolio anytime, which is actually true. You will have the confidence to obtain and expand your portfolio anytime. Spots are filling fast. Join the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass from the live chat and the description. So if you're wondering what that is, just watch this whole live stream and you'll find out. This is such an amazing idea. Now we're just selecting this text, which is the confidence to update. Where the hell did it go? Wow, now I feel like text is disappearing from in front of my eyes, and I should start to be worried because build this section out. What just happened? Hold on. I feel like I lost text somewhere. This feels like a weird epic fail to me. Hold on. The confidence to update and expand. The confidence. Here we have it. Let's select this text over here, and we're also going to zoom in, paste here and match style, and this is going to give us our actual text. If you guys don't yet have a portfolio website and you're a UI UX designer, that is the first thing you need to do. You need to have a portfolio website, whether you're looking for freelance clients or just looking to get started with your first job. In both of those scenarios, your portfolio website is going to be your best friend. And if you don't yet have that, make sure to join the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass, where you will have the simply most complete and absolutely the most detailed, well-designed, well-prepared UI UX design portfolio just as you're getting started. There's a 3-hour session, really super fun to work with. I'm going to be there, a bunch of other designers are going to be there, and it is a limited seat only masterclass. Go sign up today. It's for a really small price of Indian rupees 1492, just the smallest thing ever. The next thing we need to add obviously is our main call to action button. Let's just select this section, get a rectangle in here, make sure everything is perfectly in the center because obviously that's important. Why would it not be? Let's just make sure it's just centered from every single angle out there, and spots are filling fast, secure now. That is actually the truest statement of this entire live stream. Spots are filling fast, secure, yours now. These are just 10 seats, you guys, and they're going to fly past our faces. So just sign up now. This live stream is going to be there even if you come after a couple of minutes, but you need to sign up now. That's just the truth of the hour. Now we're going to change this to be orange, and also we're going to add a little bit of text. Let's change the text to be white. Change the font to be outfit. Change the font weight to be bold. And also reduce the font size. I feel like 40 or 44 should be like the perfect font size. I'm going to experiment with 42. Hopefully that works. Let's just make sure it's set to auto width. 40 was actually much better. Let's try 41 just for the whimsy of it. 41 is actually quite nice. Let's stick with 41. Actually, you know what? Let me just go back to 40. That was much easier to do. And now we have the confidence to update our portfolio anytime this section is down with us. And with that, we have... Where did this section go? Is this still inside the frame? No, it needs to be. And now it is. And now we have this really simple, really bold, really clear statement across the point. And it's really doing a good job to show off what the project actually does. The next thing we need to do is obviously increase the space right here. So let's just select MacBook Pro 16, increase the height. And we're going to change this text to say what you'll build live with Veera. And now we're going to just select the title that we had in the previous section, just flip it over. We're going to go right here and we're going to just select this and this, copy and paste it once again. Bring this down here, right align everything. And now we're going to change this font to say what you'll build live with Veera. Let's just change the font back again. So we're just going to go over here, zoom in, select this text once again, and obviously just paste it here and match our style. And we're going to just change this as well. So this is going to be a fun piece of text. Guess, okay, fine. I'll just let you know straight away. Here it is. Let's just... Okay, fine. Here it is. Let's just change this to be a colon and select this, paste it right here. And now that we have this section down with us, we're actually talking about what we're going to be building in this masterclass, which is amazing. The next thing we need to do, obviously, is we need to have a bunch of these really simple to-do list sort of options, which are just displaying what we're doing. Let's just paste this right here. We're going to change the font size to be white, and obviously the font family is going to be outfit. Let's change this to be outfit. And obviously we're going to change the font size and font weight. So I feel like the font weight is going to be medium and font size should be fine with 48. Let's just start working with what we have for now. So obviously one of the things that we're building out is the about page, which helps you craft your personal story, helps set you apart from the competition. And I'm saying you with a level of clarity because I know how important this is just to have it as a point across. Let's just bring this right here. And we're going to change the font to be white. We're going to change the font family to be outfit. One of the things you can do is you can change individual styles for all of these bullet points, but you can also have this be the running style and you can sort of duplicate it as you go. So we're just going to create a running typography style with this. We're going to go right here. We're going to add a text style. We're going to let this say list element, and that's just going to be the font size that we're reusing a bunch of times. Let's get the list element back here again. And once that is taken care of, we're going to get a bunch of others. So let's just select all of these different elements and we're just going to paste them back here in our site. Let's just select each of these one by one, and that's just going to be the simple first step. Let's just put all of these back in there. And now we have all of these different sections as individual list items. Let's just copy and paste it back here again. And we're going to select legal pages and policies, copy it, paste it back here again. And all of these are now going to be reusable elements that we can use with the exact same typography style. And obviously the font color is going to be white. Let's just zoom in and work with what we've got. So now that we have these ready with us, let's make sure these are aligned towards the right. So the ones that need to be on the right side are also done on the right. And now we're just going to make sure this is perfectly aligned with us. It is just really important to get your left and right alignment clearly done, because once you have that across, there isn't a lot of weird janky piece of alignment that can happen, which is the lifesaver in this case truly. Let's just align this perfectly in the center. 3 lines only, which is the requirement. And now we have all of the different list elements that we're going to be using. Let's just group them together, and now this is going to be the one single group that we're running with. So this is the continuous running theme. Oops, let's sort of ungroup all of these because I feel like we missed out on one of these. We need to make sure all of these are inside of our actual frame, which is something that's a non-negotiable, because otherwise it won't be visible on this page right here, which is where the prototyping actually happens. Hold on. we're back. So now that we have all of these list items with us, we're going to just make sure it's perfectly aligned with the title at the top. Let's just group it together, place it at the top, and now we have this perfectly aligned section with us. It's just a really good example of what the masterclass is all about, and it just gets our point across super duper quickly, super duper easily, without giving the user a lot of workload in terms of, wow, this is a huge paragraph and now I have to read the paragraph. This is a really simple, broken down list type of solution, which is just perfect for this use case. Now we're going to increase the spacing here, and obviously once that is done, we're going to make sure we have this next part, which is the call to action. So this is going to say and so much more, which is actually true, and then we're going to say join now. So let's just get that also. Let's zoom in. I feel like and so much more isn't present on that side of the world, so we're just going to have to type out ourselves and so much more to get you started. To get you started. And we're going to change this to be orange because obviously that is the theme color that we're using over here. Font weight is going to be semi-bold, and the button is obviously going to be present here as well. The font size is going to be reduced a little bit because we need to give way for the button to exist. So we're just going to select the join now button, copy and paste it once again, bring it down here, and obviously just place it perfectly right here. Alright, and now we're just going to change the font weight to be bold, and with that we're going to increase the font size here as well. Now we have this new section ready with us, which is the complete description of everything we're going to be building. Once this is done, we're going to talk about the magic that comes in once your page starts to become boring. So I've talked about this a bunch of times with the award site reviews live streams, but I'm going to talk about this once again. Sometimes when your site gets boring, sometimes when the exact same font color and the exact same background color becomes repetitive, it is a good idea to get started with a different background color. Melvin asks, how do you match font styles? Font styles are just really simple for me. So if you'll rewind this video, in the very beginning we built out the style guide literally 30 minutes ago, and this is just the whole section where we're talking about only using 2 fonts, using Pixelify sans for the titles, using outfit for the description, and that's a non-negotiable from the point of the style guide. So if you could just rewind this video, you'll see the whole story. That's just really simple stuff. If you don't yet have a portfolio website yet, go sign up for the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass. All of the different advantages are present on this website and across this stream. If you don't yet have a portfolio website, you are missing out on serious opportunities, which is why you need to have it. The Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass lets you do that in just 3 hours. So just why would you not? For the smallest price, $14.92. What's that? Like a pizza? The simplest thing in the whole world. Just go sign up now. So my point was, sometimes when the same background color is being repeated a whole bunch of times, things become really repetitive and boring and just cognitive overload overall. So sometimes you need to have a little bit of difference going in, and when you want that to be a strategy, now you want to change your background color, but in a fun tilted way, 45-degree angle, which is what we're doing. Let's just tilt this out here, and now we're going to create a simple rectangle and tilt it by like 15 degrees, which is going to be enough because 45 would be too much. 10 degrees to 15 degrees is the maximum that you'll ever need to go. And make sure this rectangle is inside of your actual MacBook, because if it is inside your MacBook, that is when you're going to have a lot of control over the extra parts actually cutting out and only having what you need right here in the center. Now we're going to make this section really bright and let it actually highlight what we're talking about. So I feel like when you're putting actual whole paragraphs inside of your design, it becomes really difficult to be able to tell apart what's important, and people will get bored of paragraphs no matter what you do. So it's a good idea to have different font weights, different font colors, to drive the user's attention where you want the attention to go. For example, I want the user to think about full control as soon as they read the sentence. So full control is the word that's highlighted now with a different font weight and a different font color. And without struggling with code is also a really important part of this masterclass. So we want the user to see that as well. And now we're just going to just get this section, get it styled, and get it done as quickly as we can. Alright, so we're just going to go back to our copy, zoom in, select this guy, zoom back in here, paste this right here. Oops. I feel like we just pasted it where it was already present. That's a nice piece of thing to get embarrassed by. We're going to make sure this is present entirely in the front. So we're just going to bring this to the front. And now we're going to make sure the font weight is set to outfit. And we're going to make this semi-bold as well. You know what, let's just set this to regular and then we can change it to semi-bold where we need it to change. So let's just change this font size to 44, align it perfectly in the center, and let's just decide what we want the user to focus on now. So we want the user to focus on the word of full control, the word UI design, the word without struggling with code. And that is now our intentional keywords which are going to highlight very properly. So let's just go over here and increase the font size because I still feel like it's a little too small for me. Zoom in, and full control is a word that we're sort of highlighting. So we're going to make this bold. UI design is also the word we're highlighting, but we're highlighting this more in its native color, so it's going to be extra bold. And without struggling with code is also a word we're highlighting, which is going to be bold as well. We're also going to, you know what, let's just go with semi-bold because this is going to now visually be different. Because we're also changing the colors here, just going semi-bold is going to be fine. We also need to highlight the words colors, typography, and layout because they are also really important parts of this entire masterclass. So let's just change them to be semi-bold as well. And now we're going to change this to full control. Let's change this font color to orange and also change this to orange. And now we have a really simple, plain looking but quite dynamic section that guides you through what you need to see intentionally from the point of view of a UI designer. Let's change this to extra bold. It's fine. The next thing we need to do is obviously a bonus section. So I feel like this is a really great vibe. So when you just scroll, this becomes a really intentional, dynamic, classical look. So we just need to go with the flow and go with that vibe once again, just so we can use the same exact good piece of component everywhere. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Sometimes when you're building out UI design components, if you build a UI design component that turns out to be very well looking, like this UI right here, you usually want to replicate that a bunch of times for consistency. And so just to make sure the consistency is actually the good kind of consistency using the components that we actually like. So we're just going to get this section once again. And this is essentially a reverse of the colors that we were using. Let's increase the font size a little bit because I feel like 46 is still too small. And now we're just going to select this, group it together by pressing Shift and then Control G, copy and paste this group once again. And it's going to be an essential replica of what we were doing, just changing the colors. Change the black to white, white to black, orange is going to stay orange. And now we're going to select the next bonus section, paste it right as it is. So let's just select it right here, copy it, zoom in, and we're going to change this to be white. And obviously the font size, font family is going to be outfit. Let's just align this perfectly in the center. And now we're going to do highlights for the important parts of this section. So let's do portfolio ready, share instantly, and this specific phrase. These are the key elements we need to highlight for this section. Let's just get that done. Let's do semi-bold, portfolio ready, share instantly, semi-bold as well. And let's also do semi-bold for this section. You know what? Let's just go extra bold with this. Let's change this to orange. Obviously, there is a little bit of liberty that you can take, but it's really important to just have the right parts of your whole section highlighted. Spots are limited, sign up now. True statement, spots are quite limited, sign up now, because before you know it, seats are going to be gone. Just go and sign up now. All right, where was I? We were talking about the spots, which are limited. Let's just zoom into our copy text, select the section which talks about the ultimate truth. Spots are limited, go sign up now. We're going to zoom in, back here again, leave a single line, and then we're going to talk about spots are limited, sign up now. Change the color to be orange, change this to be medium, change the font underline to be visible, just so things look nice and easy in the center. The next thing we need to add is obviously why this masterclass. So genuinely, when I'm asking you to sign up for a masterclass, a question that arrives in your head is, why do I want this masterclass? And this is a really interesting question which I want to address, which is why I'm just going to take help of this section to address that issue. Why this masterclass? Every designer needs a portfolio. True indeed, but most struggle to create one that actually gets results. True also. Most UI designers out there right now need a good portfolio. Either they have a portfolio that's not working, or they don't have a portfolio at all, which just puts them at such a huge disadvantage from their competition. And this is the real footage of a struggling designer. I have been this sad struggling designer for the majority of my career in the earlier years, and I just want you as a beginner to be out of that mess right now within 3 hours. Like, on a Sunday, next Sunday, 3 hours, 5 to 8 p.m. for the small cost of 1492 Indian rupees. And that's why I, a seasoned UI UX design coach now, am hosting this hands-on code-based masterclass where you don't have to worry about the code. You have to worry about how much you can customize this portfolio and help you build a fully functional, cutting-edge portfolio website in just 3 hours. Sign up now. Link in the live chat and also the description. All right. With that true statement aside, why this masterclass is a true question that arrives to many of the people that are visiting our site. Let's try to address that issue a little bit. And now we're just going to sort of increase this section a little bit. And so this section is basically a similar section as compared to this and this section. We've just increased the height a little bit, so we're just going to stick with that. Let's just go right here, select this, copy and paste it once again, make sure it's perfectly aligned, select this rectangle, make it bigger, make the size equal, and now we're going to ask the important question, why this masterclass? Very, very genuine question. Let's select this title and description, copy and paste it once again, bring this right here, change this to be our shade of black that we're using, make sure they're at the top of our screen, and then we're going to, and then we're going to address the issue, why this masterclass? Is anyone else wondering anything about the masterclass? Let me know in the live chat. I would be so happy to answer all of you guys' questions. Let's just paste this here and match our style. Why this masterclass? Very genuine question, very good question. Let's get rid of this guy now, and we're going to talk about the struggling designer in the room. So this is such a common struggle, and I feel like it's really important to get across this struggle really quickly, really easily, because otherwise you're going to start missing opportunities, and that's when the real problems really start to kick in. So you, as soon as you start with your UI UX design career, need to be ready with your own portfolio, and I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to do just that. Let's also add the true subtitle to this image that needs to be added here. Real footage of a struggling designer. This was my face for the longest time, and I'm so glad I'm out of that mess. I want to get you out of that mess, everyone else watching out of that mess, but spots are limited because this is a really limited small workshop, 10 seats only. I'm pretty sure many seats of those 10 have been filled ever since I've been live streaming, so go sign up now. So just don't miss out on all of these opportunities. Go sign up now. Let's change this to be the signature shade of blue that we've been using, And now we're just going to make sure everything is perfectly in the center. The next thing we're doing is every designer needs a portfolio. Let's just get this sentence from our copy text right here and sort of break it down. I feel like this was a really good example of how to, this section in itself is a really good breakdown of how to break this huge chunk of copy down to readable segments, down to enjoyable segments for the users to watch, so that they actually understand what's going on and so that they take the steps that they need to take in order to sign up or do whatever is best suited for them. So we're just cutting this sentence from our entire paragraph, copy it, bring this right here, and obviously paste it back here again. Let's just zoom in, paste it right here. We're going to bring this to the front, and we're going to just bring this right here, increase the font size, obviously, change the font family to outfit, and we're going to make sure it looks the way it needs to look. So we're going to change this font family to 56 pixels. By the way, if you're a UI designer who doesn't have a portfolio yet, type I in the chat and we'll just have a talk, because you're missing out on so much and you just don't know it, and you need someone to have the kind of true conversation that you need to have. Like how many opportunities are you missing out on because you don't have a portfolio website? How many? And when does it stop? Like, that madness has to stop right this moment. Most struggle. This is also very, very true. Let's change this to say actually gets results. Sometimes I also see many designers have their portfolio websites, but they're not converting, getting any sort of clients, results, getting hired. If that's your problem, type I in the chat too. Let's also change this to be most struggle, to be orange. And now we're going to increase the height of this section again. So this is our first segment of the section, and then we're going to do the second segment of the section as well. So we're going to get this image in here, get this text sorted. This text is a perfect example of how to break down a huge chunk of text, how to break it down into easy parts. How do you get your people to look at the place you want them to look at, and how do you get the right kind of aesthetic going? And I feel like it's really important in these very, very serious sites to have a little bit of humor, which is why this is the struggling designer. It's actually true. This was my face for the majority of the beginning of my UI design career. Let's get this image of this human person and add the most dedicated subtitles anyone has ever had. Hi, it's me. Look at me. I'm building a site. The greatest UI designer alive. It's me. I feel like a cartoon character, and this is really weird, but what can you do? I'm going to select this, bring this right here, align this. If you're a UI designer who has a site but it is not converting, if you're that person, just type I in the chat, you guys. Just type I in the chat. If you don't have a UI portfolio website, or if you have a portfolio website that is not converting, what the hell are you doing? What the hell? Let's just get this section right here. And by the way, you guys, let's just change this text with the paste here matte style option. Bring the font size down. While I'm doing this, if you're a UI UX designer who doesn't have a portfolio website, type I in the chat. If you're a UI UX designer who has a portfolio but it is not converting, type another I in the chat, because these are very, very real situations that need to be talked about. People are missing out on so many opportunities just because we're just unable to do the simple first step, take the first right step in the right direction of having their own portfolio website. Like, you're missing out on so much. Seriously. Now we're going to highlight the important sections, and obviously we need to change this to be font, to change this font weight to be bold, and we're just going to repeat this over and over again. Seasoned design coach. hosting this masterclass. If you're just starting out, I genuinely think you should join this. It's like the perfect 3-hour session. Best value for money, best portfolio website to get started. Why would you miss out? Like, why? You would order a pizza and this money would just evaporate. Like, it's never about the money, especially in this case. I genuinely kept it at a price of 1492 just so we could have the most people sign up, the most people to help, and seats are still limited because obviously there is a limit to the number of people we can accommodate. Do not miss out. It's a really, really special opportunity. We're going to change this to orange. Hands-on course-based masterclass, very, very true words. And with that, we have our section ready with us. The last section that we need to build out for this video is going to be the next one. So while we're building this section out, I also have a different piece of news. My different piece of news is this site isn't done yet. So this site is basically does have a lot more details that we need to cover up. We built half of the site out and we'll build out the next section now, and that'll be half of the site. There is another half of the site that I do need to design after this, which we're going to tackle tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Do not miss it, because we're going to be looking at a lot of different UI design secrets that we haven't talked about yet, and just take a bunch of really, really cool concepts and work on them. So we're going to be live tomorrow as well, working on this project once again. Let's zoom in, select the section of the paragraph that we need to work with. Paste this right here, change the font color to white, bring this to the front, change the font family to be outfit, change this to be, let's do 56. Align this perfectly in the center. Let's do 52. Align it perfectly in the center. And now we're going to highlight the sections that it isn't. So this isn't a theory session by any chance. This is a very real-time, learning-based, collaborative session with the true insider techniques of the UI UX design industry as a whole. Let's change this font to be orange, because this is the truest point that could come across from this UI. Let's make this thicker. Change this to be sleek, fast, professional. Change the sleek, fast, professional to be thicker. And also we're going to get rid of the headache. Let's get rid of the headache, because who needs headaches in this new and modern age? All right, and the last thing that we're building out for today is this rectangle, on top of which our call to action button is going to be. Let's bring this right here, copy and paste it once again. Spots are obviously limited and you need to enroll now, otherwise it's just going to be gone. This is a very, very limited time opportunity, which is why you shouldn't miss out on it. No one should miss out on it. Let's change this to be outfit. And just align it perfectly in the center. And one of the other elements that we need to make sure of is we're capitalizing the right sort of text. So with that, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. We have completed successfully our real world project, half of it actually. We're going to be building out the other half tomorrow in a similar live stream, but we're going to be tackling a lot of different techniques that we haven't looked at yet. So do join me live. If you don't yet have a portfolio website, or if you have a portfolio website that is not connecting, that is not converting, what the hell are you doing? Go join the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass right now. Do not waste any time. I will see you in the next one. Let's just, as we're going away, let's take a look at this gorgeous beauty that we've built out. Check it out, you guys. This is a real world website with a notification bar, a true hero section, very, very relaxed, modern, simplistic, luxurious look and feel, a good situation of what you're going to be learning, what you're going to be doing over here. The confidence to update and expand your portfolio anytime, anywhere is now yours. you have a very good description of what you're going to be building out. A lot of different sections are tackled in very, very different ways UI design wise. We're taking a look at changing colors midway, changing section angles midway. We've talked about breaking down complex pieces of paragraphs into more readable, convertible pieces of information for the users. And lastly, we have ended on a very, very high note, pretty note, while prompting the actual user, you guys, to launch now, or to launch your own portfolio now with the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass. Go sign up now. I will see you there. And also tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, where we're going to build out the rest of this beautiful portfolio website. I will see you there. Join me.